BIOS. Every system BIOS has two types of hardware to support other hardware, and that never changes. The keyboard, which I mean you cannot change the keyboard controller built in into the South Bridge or change the beep sound. Also, the system BIOS supports other hardware, and that might change from time to time. CMOS is a separate chip, memory chip. It stores the information that describes specific device parameters. CMOS doesn't store programs, it only stores data and that is read by BIOS to complete the programs. Most CMOS chips stores around 64 KB, but PC only needs only a small amount to store the data, so probably about 128 bytes. And the information that's stored in there is really important for the PC. However, BIOS is a special firmware stored in a chip on the motherboard, and that is the first program that runs every time when you turn the computer on. When you change a setting in BIOS, the settings are not stored in the BIOS chip. They're stored in another special chip. And now I'll show you guys how to get into the BIOS and some other cool stuff that you may use in the future. Alright, uh, about how you get into a BIOS, it depends on your motherboard. Normally you press delete, or some other motherboard, maybe you need to press F12 or 11 to get into the BIOS when you start your computer. So when you go into the BIOS, this is what you look like. The first thing you'll see is motherboard intelligent tweaker. Right now I'm using a simulator, so I can show you guys. So first, if you click in there, it will show the basic your motherboard settings. The first one is CPU clock ratio. It shows right here in the frequency. So some people that would like to overclock their CPUs, you have to be careful to doing that because it may damage your CPU. If you want to do that, it's not very hard. You can just make it higher. Normally there's a setting right here. You can make it higher. So that's the simple way to overclock your CPU. If this is not stable, you should go over here. There's a CPU vCore, which is the voltage. You can add up a little bit. So if maybe sometimes you need more juice for your CPU, so if you change this higher a little bit, it may run better. But overclocking your CPU is kind of risky, but it's not that hard at all. It just depends on you. Advanced CPU features right here. Basically, you can see C3 all these things. Normally, for overclock user, we turn this thing off, and other functions as well. Normally, we turn off cool and quiet, so that way, when you using overclocking your CPU, it runs at a higher frequency. So now we come back here, go back, and right now here you will see an extreme memory profile. Right here is disabled, and here's a memory frequency right here. So you may confuse that you bought your RAM and it says 1866, but it's only running like 1000. You may want to change the profile to profile 1. That's a kind of like overclock your RAM too, but that's the way that you want to run at the higher frequency. So you just change this one to profile 1. And right here is the thing that about your RAM. So I recommend leave as auto, so it should be fine. Right here we'll go to standard CMOS features. Right here basically shows the time right here in your hard drive. Basically it's really simple that you can read. It's not very hard. Let's go to advanced BIOS features. Right here shows the sequence, which one you boot first. On my simulator, it says first boot device is like floppy. I don't know who uses floppy right now, but normally it's right here. It should be like hard disk. And time you want to install your system, like a clean install, you can change this one to CD-ROM right here, or you can just change this one to USB. Which is faster. I know some people that don't have a CD-ROM nowadays, they only have a USB port, so you just use your USB to install the system, which is stable. Um, we can ignore some of these. Right here is a full screen logo show. If you turn this on, it will show your motherboard logo. So right here is something interesting. If you have a solid state drive, you just bought it, I recommend you to use AS SSD benchmark, so you can run to see the speed. And if there's a red thing on the top left, you may want to change something in here. Right here it says SATA control mode. Normally, if you have a solid state drive, you should change it to a HCI. I'll give you guys a little tip right here. When you change it, you can't just set it up and boot in your computer and you realize it's not turned on, then shut your computer off and go to your BIOS and change it. It doesn't work that way. You have to go into your computer and run, and it'll show up. You have to turn your computer on and boot into safe mode and restart your computer. Go into your BIOS and change this one to HCI, and then when you boot up and turn off the safe mode, then go into a normal mode. That way you will change to HCI. Some people that don't know that, they're really confused about it, so just give you guys a little tip right here. So other than that, it's all about your controller and board. Right here you will see power management. Right here there's really nothing to explain. It just shows how you turn your computer on, how you wake it up. PC health status. Right here will show your status of your PC. It will show the temperature of CPU and the fan speed. And if you have a side fan on the side panel, it will show right here. And this is a CPU warning temperature. I normally don't touch it, just leave it as default. And the CPU fan warning, if it's not working, it will tell you. But normally you will know, because if your fan's not working, your CPU will overheat and the computer will just shut off. I recommend you to open your case if that thing happened, like overheat, that you don't know about. Open your case and see if there's anything not spinning. If everything is spinning, just let it run with the case open to see if you should still shut off. Or you can just go download a temperature software so you can see what's the temperature like right now. Okay, right here, this low failsafe default. It basically just change something they worked before. Like right here was change everything to default. If you're overclocking and something is not running properly, I recommend you just low default or save your overclock setting, then change it one at a time. If you change something that's not right, worked before, just lower to your old overclock setting so your PC still runs good. Okay, and here you say use a password, but I remember someone told me that if you take out the motherboard battery, it will just reset the password. If you change something in the BIOS, make sure you save and exit setup, so it will save your work. Other than that, you have to just discover everything by yourself. And hope you guys like this video, and good luck. See you guys next time.